Welcome to the first of the TGS Gun Room tours. Craigie boy! This would be the second choice in terms of value for money, I think. Today we're going to kick off with Barbury, where we're going to look around their entire facility. I'm having like anxiety about spending money I don't have. To make it exciting, Tweedl are offering a £10,000 voucher in their latest competition for this gun room, and we're going to go in and see how we'd spend it. Morning, Craigie boy.
Hello, mate. You all right? No kiss today. No, not with Sash about anyway.
No. I have spent good money and many million hours in here.
Yes.
And today we're going to share it with the world, looking at things that I don't usually look at.
I mean, what are you thinking? You're not really sure? Greenies for a starter?
It's not a bad shout. 10 grand is a large amount of money to be given to win to buy a gun. That's most people's dream gun level.
Sure.
Certainly my personal preference would probably lean into the second-hand market because you're on dream guns at
you
that.
are.
Well,
yeah.
However, from a competition and game gun standpoint, you're buying the best of the best for 10 grand.
For sure.
Give me a quick tour round and then I'm gonna go and get lost in the weeds.
You can get a few off the racks. So we start with Greenies, everything from Summit, Magnus, Maxim, Invictus 1s, Invictus 1 Limiteds, 3s. We then jump into Berettas, starting with the DT11 on the left, which doesn't need any introduction really.
It's a fantastic gun. To be honest, for 10 grand brand new, you've got a bit of change. And it's genuinely one of the best guns in the world, period.
100%.
694, you could have a pair of 694s.
You could nearly have 3 actually.
And this calls into question, right? 10 grand. One gun, two guns, many guns. The thing about Barbury is I would be thinking, buy a nice gun, Sovereigns at 390 or pound a thousand, buy a load of those, get a couple of lessons with Josh, and you are away.
Yeah.
It's not a bad way of spending 10 grand.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be purely on materials.
You could buy 20 coughs.
You could.
You could.
But you wouldn't. EEL if you're a game shooter.
It's a very fine
Doesn't have to be a clay gun.
You can get a classic for 10 grand.
You could get a classic or a pair of normal ones.
I was totally like coming into this thinking I've got this down, spending 10 grand, no worries. I think about this day in, day out, how I spend money. I mean, I've got none. So we dream about spending it, right?
That, yeah.
But actually putting that on a plate, that becomes a tough thing. Basic Berettas, I mean, you could buy a fleet of
silver pigeons.
Flight of silver pigeons, as I suppose it's really called.
You could go 410, 28, 20, 12, and still have enough to buy a few thousand cartridges.
The back room, I like the back room.
The Nook. There's a bit of everything in here now. So we've got left-handers.
Who's even left-handed?
Yeah, but we have to cater for all left-handers.
Yeah, it's a strange minority. Autos, very much my
autos,
bag.
yeah, semi-autos.
You get a lot of autos for 10 grand.
Maruku, not to be forgotten.
Pair of, that would be nice, 10 grand.
MK38s, MK70s.
My eye is immediately drawn to these SCOs, but then my eye was also drawn to the fact that they're £30,000. So,
yeah,
annoyingly, at £10,000, I'm still not rich enough to buy these.
You could put the rest in if you fell in love with them. F16 Heritage, nice things.
See, second-hand is still great value, but at 10 grand, you're not that worried about value, and that's kind of a nice thing because it's not even your money, really. I don't think I can afford anything on this. Wow, hold on. The Raffaello Best.
Raffaello,
it's 3 grand.
One. Yeah, you've got the 40th anniversary EEL.
7 grand.
7 grand. Prazzi MX20, just over.
That Holland and Holland. I'm going to have a look at that later. That's nice. It's a little over, but that's fine.
Invictus Artco.
The Artco at 6 grand represents great value. Mm-hmm. I really like the Ascent version.
And they're not bringing many in. So as far as investments go, it's going to be a fairly...
Yeah, it shouldn't drop too much second hand, and it's clearly desirable. Longthorn, way over, and that SO9 is way over.
Yeah.
This is where the value is if you wanted to fill a cabinet up.
Yeah, you can get 3 or 4 off of here. Bit of everything, Beretta 486s, obviously future-proof side-by-sides if you're that way inclined.
I mean, it would be fairly simple just looking to spend 10 grand there. I'd have an Ultra XS Pro, the 486 Parallelo, and that nice little 410 Coffs at the back. You've spent a good part of 10 grand, you could buy shells for all of them, and you've got a cabinet with one of the best competition guns ever made, one of the best side-by-sides currently available, and a 410 to dick about with.
All bases covered, really.
Craig has trusted me with the key to go and have a look at some of the things. And I think I'm going to start with the more ridiculous choices and then probably work through to what I will actually buy if I win, which I can't win because I can't compete because, people would say that was suspicious. And that is with this. A Ken Hunt engraved Holland Royal. Have a look at this bad boy. So for those who don't know, Ken Hunt is probably one of the most legendary engravers of our era, of forever. Hollands generally come with their house scroll pattern, which is a beautiful thing, but this one is game scened with large acanthus scroll. You can't help but at least admire the work that's gone into the engraving. gold inlaid woodcock on the bottom, assisted opening action. It's pretty. It's definitely pretty. What makes this gun particularly interesting is that it wasn't originally Ken Hunt engraved. This is an 1898 action, and yet has been over engraved by Ken Hunt, and something in my head says that they didn't have the assisted opening until the 20s, and this is an assisted opening gun. So it's been kind of updated and modified, which it adds to the story, right? Which is kind of cool. It would have been done by Hollands, that mechanical work, presumably. Most people who are in this competition probably own a decent over and under. I wonder how many own one of the world's best side-by-sides. This has to be the most beautiful gun you had in there, and I know it's well over budget, but I want to come out and shoot it, so
Why not?
we're here. Before we do so, it's important that we tell you a little bit about the actual details of this competition. The first thing is you go to tweedl.com and check out their brand new website. It now takes Apple Pay, which makes the whole process significantly easier. I mean, the whole website is just better than it was. And then you pay £19 for a ticket to be in the competition to draw one of these. There are 950 tickets. Anyone from all over the world can enter, and Craig will help try and facilitate getting your winning gun or equipment to the country that you live in. There are certain places that will be harder. Afghanistan's probably out. America, definitely in.
Not a problem.
Beautiful stockwork. I mean, that's just, the diamond grip is special, you know. I like this gun.
I'd agree with you. I've fallen in love with it, to be fair.
To look at, to handle, just the quality of finish, you can't not appreciate it, right?
You'd get it out of the cabinet and just have a sit with it on the sofa and appreciate it.
It's not an intelligent purchase for a first gun or a main gun, but given both of us own quality over and unders, buying something like this, let's say that it cost you £4 grand, technically, with your Tweedl winnings, wouldn't be a bad shout. And it's got gold on it.
And it's got the golden cock on it.
I just love. Go and check the website out, buy a ticket. You could be in for winning £10,000 to spend with this man or any of the team here at Barbury. For now, let's go back to the gun room and spend more hypothetical money. I just got told off because apparently you can't just go over budget straight away, and so now we're going to try and find as much value for money as we can. And I kind of started with the Artco, but there's another Guarini whose spec I prefer, and in the meantime I picked this off the rack. It's a Maxus 2. They are good value. £1,000 for a second-hand one in there. Yeah, I mean, you're still left with £9 grand and you've got a gun you can go and rattle anything with. That counts for a lot. And it is kind of weird to be blasé, but it's like if you won the lottery, right? You buy things that you perhaps wouldn't at other times, and hey, everyone needs an auto. This would be the second choice in terms of value for money, I think. £5 grand for an Invictus 1 M-Spec Limited. They're a limited run to Barbury with the case killer hardening in the gold. M-Spec means it's fixed choke 32-inch barrels. It's kind of cool, right? You could get it teaked by these boys, and well, you're all spending money at Barbury Gun Room, so the voucher counts, right? We're going to take one of these out for a little play in a moment, because I want to. You've still got £4 grand left to play, and that allows us to look at a rifle to complete your gun cabinet. Given that not everyone will already have a nice gun and be thinking of a side-by-side, you could fill a cabinet. Great over and under, great semi-automatic, and then rifles. £4 grand buys you a lot of gun nowadays. The BRX one is £1,300. It's a half-inch MOA gun, generally speaking. You've got a Tikkas, Savages, you've got pretty much every gun known to man. And I'm going to put ourselves slightly over budget, but I feel like there's negotiation to be had. There's probably not. A Merkel K series K5 is £4 grand. It puts us a few £100s over budget, but it's one of the coolest, sweetest rifles out there. Rifles wise, it's kind of tough at that price. Do you spend a cheap little amount on a rifle and buy an expensive optic? Do you do the other way around? I'll take advice.
I mean, it's all personal preference again. 6.5 Creedmoor now, Tikka, Green Rough Tech. We do these in various different kits, but this one actually comes with a moderator, scope, sticks, sling, bags, the whole lot, and you're just under £2.5 grand.
Which leaves me spare cash to bring my friends for a shoot.
You can shoot, you can buy bullets, you can buy thermals, you can do whatever you want with
I'm pretty basic when it comes to rifles. I like rifles, but the demands on them are, will it kill a deer? So my demands of rifles is pretty low.
Yeah.
This is tough, right? So they've got a whole rack of air guns. So if you're into air guns, you could just get an air gun. You get an air gun to add to all the others. You could buy all your friends a brand new Browning. I've got my eye on this. Like, this is a really dumb purchase by any equivalence, but if you've got free 10 grand, why not? It's one of my favourite Browning B25 engravings, the C3 spec. It's a nice stock, it's long, it's like 15.5 inches. The shame of it is that it's a short barreled skeet gun. But I also know that occasionally in Holtz you will see 30-inch sporting barrels you could clip on there. It does come up nicely. It's £4 grand, which to be fair, if you were to have this new, it would be 5 times that or 6 times that. And for most people, it's 25-inch skeet gun. It's 25-inch, that's awful. A 25-inch skeet gun will be more than enough for their shooting. Just, you might need to explain it to your friends of why you haven't got a big one. On a more sensible note, you get yourself into, what's the 725 grade 5? That's 3.5 second hand. You've got every intelligent purchase there for a brand new gun with so much money left over if you were to just buy a great gun. That 525S adjustable is just, it's sick and it's £2 new. I mean, £8 in cartridges and clays would last you a long time. You spread that over 2 years? I mean, you spread it over a year, you could be like, good. And again, it's like if you win the lottery buying a Ferrari, you might as well just throw away money at that point. You could buy yourself a Coffs 410, go and have a play. You could buy a 20 bore Marook, there it is, that's lovely. It's a 28 gauge Marook at £1,000. Then you just have it and enjoy it and have fun. I mean, I'm a pretty bad guy, culprit thing when it comes to just filling his cabinet with stuff he never uses. But it is appealing to have lots of guns you don't use. It's kind of nice. You take them out, enjoy them, enjoy the engineering, enjoy shooting them occasionally. And again, you're never going to be the best in the world, or most of us won't be. So you might as well just enjoy the process, enjoy the gun making, enjoy having a Mossberg 410 hush power. Because why not? If you shoot it once a year, then you're a winner. It's kind of an awesome opportunity, actually. We were just chatting inside. I said, how would you spend your 10? You said you'd buy an Invictus one and spend the rest on shells and having fun. Should we shoot it?
Yeah, let's have some fun. Didn't get that, did you, Sash?
See, I do think like 10 grand might be too much money. Like, because for 1,000, you could then spend 9,000 having fun. Let's say 3,000 on clays, 3,000 on ammo, and the rest at the cafe. It's like a bar.
Rhymes with beer in the cafe.
Well, imagine just the power move of forever just walking in and being like, boys, have what you like, it's on me. £1,000. £1,000. Like, it's not perhaps my favourite auto, but they are slick. You can't argue it. Why not have an auto, an over and under, and a rifle, and fill your gun cabinet?
10 grand, you got your gun.
Oh, I'd buy them both.
A lot of beer.
That's a lot of beer.
Are you getting the Invictus?
Well, I like the idea of having like a proper competition gun.
Yeah.
But then I've just walked in with that and you go, it's not a bad competition gun for £1,000.
And you don't need any cartridges because you're probably sponsored by
A really fantastic cartridge company. Yes, much the same as yourself.
Yeah.
And then again, you're into the more sensible options. It's a mind-blowing opportunity, as I've said 1,000 times, because nobody's ever put this on the plate as a question. Usually it's, I want a sporting gun for 10 grand, but when the world's opened up to whatever you want, I mean, they're all left-handed. You've got Blaser F16 professional grade 6 there for, what's that, 10 grand? I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful gun. Nice, sensible, good gun to go and smash clays up with. Again, world standard gun, and it's going to cost you a £20 ticket. You know that MK11, I saw it when it first came out, I fell so deeply in love with it, and I went off it a bit because I was like, well, the game seems just not like hyper realistic, but I come back to it every time. I just love how deep that scroll is, and I kind of like the stylized birds. For £6,500, it is an unbelievably good looking gun. I love the low profile action. I love it says Maruka on it. That's 12 grand, and I've told Sash I wouldn't spend over budget, but there's an MX-20 there for 5 grand. I mean, it's tough, right? Because everyone's going to be in a different position. What you buy won't be what your friends buy. If you're starting out, you're going to be looking for a great competition gun. If you've got a great competition gun, you're going to be going for something else. I really don't hate the idea of just buying £1,000 worth of slow gin, £5,000 worth of cartridges, and then a load of sim days and game days from the sporting side here. Just come and shoot and have fun. Completely guilt-free fun, and share that with your friends. That actually counts for a huge amount. But then I'm also of the frugal mind that invest it, and then that's a good idea. I'd love to know what you guys think. Bang it in the comments and we'll We'll see. For now, it's time to move on to what I think is the way I would spend the money. This is a tough decision, but it's one I have already made before walking in here because I have shot this gun before. And it's this, a second-hand ASE. I can't help but be drawn to it. Given my relationship with Beretta, perhaps people won't believe me, so it's best you make the sale on this one.
To be fair, it's the one you keep going back to. We've looked at everything, but I mean, it's one of my favourites in the shop. They didn't make them for very long, ASEL. This is one of 300 ever made, very rare in 32 inch, actually. The majority that come on the market are sort of 29.5 inch. Barrels made in the SO factory. It's just a quality bit of kit, isn't it?
Fully handmade stock, fully hand-checkered, best London finish. Like, it's a sick piece of gun making, but also the Holland & Holland's a sick piece of gun making. You could win a World Championship with that, you could shoot game with that. It's the one gun thing. And Hugh always takes the piss because I shoot so many guns. He said, you'll never be good if you carry on shooting so many guns. Pick one, pick a good one, do everything with it, the end.
Yeah.
And it's not bad advice. And I think if we're over 10 grand, there might be a better choice or a different choice. But you've still got 2 grand for lessons, shells,
whatever you want,
stuff, and fun. Because I genuinely think the most intelligent thing is to buy one epic gun, get some lessons from some of the best shooters out, and buy a load of shells. I think I'm going to grab Hugh or Josh, whoever's free, and take that for a whirl.
And have a play with it.
Again. I've just been saying to people that perhaps out of their 10 grand, maybe they should invest in cartridges and lessons because being good with a gun is kind of handy. You have some amazing instructors here at Barbury. I've got you.
Well, you know, second best, what can you say?
I mean, you shot a 98% the other day. That's pretty...
Yeah, more luck than judgment, I think, Johnny, you know. Blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then.
Well, you know how to do it. Do you know how to teach other people to do it?
I think so.
All right, well, let's see if you can get me to do a 98%. We've picked a gun that I can't afford, that I want.
I'm good, but I'm not a magician. Come on.
All right, let's go. So for this lesson, we're going to look at sporting clays, but I presume you do other stuff.
Yeah, so that's the good thing about the shooting school. So we do lessons right the way from sort of complete beginners, someone picking up a gun for the first time, through to your experienced shots, whether that be clay or game. So we tailor lessons to the individual, really. So I do a lot of, you know, this time of year, I do a lot of sort of sporting clay shooters, FITAS, any sort of discipline, really. And then as we get closer towards the game season, we'll start getting on, you know, starting with the grouse lessons. We've got grouse butts, purpose-built grouse butts to do sort of grouse lessons, where it's walked up, driven.
How much is a lesson?
£85. For an hour,
Right.
that's a guest rate, and then £75 for members. So our membership runs at £120 for a year, and that includes a 3 hours tuition. So
Well, out of your 10 grand, you should join as a member.
exactly, definitely. So yeah, so we go right the way through the game clients. We've got obviously the high towers, we can do partridge, you know, simulate driven partridge, driven pheasant, and then yeah, onto the sporting level. We can tailor for whatever level and whatever experience. It's all a sense of timing, isn't it? And that's the thing. Like you say, with sporting, it's that repeating 4 or 5 pairs in a row in some cases. So whatever you're doing has got to be repeatable.
That wasn't too consistent, but they all broke.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, listen, we could fine tune it a bit more, but a lot of it with sporting, especially, we're looking at obviously this crossover to all disciplines and within game shooting. As we're looking at the basics, you know, pick up point, hold point, kill point, getting a solid foundation there, and then a solid sort of technique we want to apply to majority of targets. Yes, we'll, you know, people will say, right, we should shoot certain targets with certain techniques and certain methods. Everyone's different. We all drive different cars. We all shoot different guns. You know, everyone's unique in that respect of what
We
works
could swap
and what
clothes,
doesn't.
but we'd look stupid.
I know, exactly. I mean, I'd be.
Well, one of us would.
You'd still be ugly. But yeah, it's you know, it's finding what works for the individual. You know, I personally have a way I would shoot and a method I would use most of the time. And then I have a way I would teach, you know, different techniques depending on the individual. I wouldn't try and say, right, because you shoot like this, I want to make you shoot like that, unless there was a serious flaw in what you're doing. I think you've got to, within the coaching with lessons, always working with what the individual has currently and then progressing from there. Not saying, right, that's absolutely rubbish, that doesn't work. You know, we've got to shoot like
My
this.
way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You've got to tailor it to the individual.
Currently at 100%. I'm just going to say that we could cut it off here, and that would be the best lesson of my life.
I know.
So I've cured him. He shoots 100%.
Loves the pull away. Yeah,
I shot the first one maintained, and it felt a bit slow.
A bit, yeah, and a bit guessy maybe, and a bit sort of like stabby.
Didn't feel urgent enough.
Yeah.
At the point I thought was the good point to kill it. I think maintained, I could have killed it earlier, but I felt risky.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like going back to what we said earlier about consistency and repetition. You've got to do whatever you've got to do 4 or 5 times in a row sometimes. So whatever the move is, as long as you're comfortable with it and it works, you think, right, I can repeat that 4 or 5 times in a row, perfect, stay with it. But it's also having the confidence that sometimes we make a move we don't want to make, you think, actually, yeah, I got there, but that wasn't right. To have the confidence to say, actually, yeah, although I hit it, let's change it, let's make it perfect, to make it more consistent.
I mean, I'm just saying, 100%, it's a 100% gun.
Well, if you say so. I think it's more luck than judgment, but there we go.
Well, yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah. We'll see how you get on here. We are going to shoot left to right quartering, sort of rise and stand off the bank there.
Oh.
And then literally hit a little batu up. Just don't get carried away.
Sorry, yeah,
We'll shoot that left to right quartering, rise and standard first, and then upside down batu, just quartering back the other way.
Upside down batu, meaning it flies more erratically.
Well, it's just a different line, isn't it? It's just going to produce a different line.
Oh, you...
No, not the last one.
I was so confident with it. I just took my head off the gun. I was like, yeah, it's in the bank, son. Alternatively to any of those options, you could, of course, just buy a Barrett 50 cal and quite a few rounds to shoot through it. Everyone's going to be different. Let me know what you'd spend 10 grand on here down below. Go and enter, support Tweedl, see what you think. Probably my favourite competition they've ever done. Guys, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you at the next one.
If you want a chance to win this £10,000 voucher, head to Tweedl.com and purchase a ticket for $19.99. There is 950 tickets available, so pretty solid odds. Honestly, this 10k challenge was way harder than I expected. I'd love to know what you'd spend it on if you won.